Hi, everyone, and welcome to Creatures of the Realm. I believe this is up episode 40. Can you believe it? 40 episodes of Creatures of the Realm. I'm Henry Knight. I'm the DM for Playerole, and I go over a lot of the creatures of the Dungeon Master's monster manual. Everybody has it. Every Dungeon Master has it. Without it, well, you have creatures in your imagination, but sometimes you have a lot to do as a DM, and having that manual is very, very helpful, especially if you're doing random encounters. Tonight, before we go over the creature, I want to tell you that next weekend, August 17th, episode 6 of Drow City. Join us, 8 p.m. Central. It's going to be one hell of a game. Players, the group, they had a blast last episode, part 1 of Drow City, and part 2 is next week at 8 p.m. Central. I'm very excited about that, and very excited for everyone to join us in this growing campaign. Season 2. It's wonderful. The players like it. The audience likes it. And let's just see what happens next. Anyways, let's continue. Creatures of the Realm, episode 40. Tonight, we're going to go over the Gibbering Mouther. Now, what's a Gibbering Mouther? Of all the terrors created by foul sorcery, the Gibbering Mouther are among the most wicked and depraved. The creature is the composite eyes, mouth, liquefied matter of its former victims. Kind of a tormented by destruction of their bodies and absorption into the Mouther. Those victims gibber incoherently and are forced to consume everything in reach. They have 3 forms. The Gibbering Mouther's body is an enormous mass of mouths and eyes, propels itself by oozing forward, fastening several mouths to the ground and pulling its bulk behind. Though it moves slowly, it swims through water, mud, quicksand with ease. It has this, it's very horrifying, and Gibbering Mouther senses prey. Its mouth begins to murmur and chatter, each with a different voice, deep or shrill, wailing, well, you know how that goes, and crying in agony or ecstasy. The Gibbering Mouther overcomes the senses of any creatures that it hears, causing most to flee in terror. Others are overcome with confusion or stand paralyzed, fixated on the horrific creature as it oozes forward to consume them. And finally, the third ability that this wonderful creature has. All-consuming, driven to devour any creature it can reach. A Gibbering Mouther flows over victims, transfixed by its ranting. Its voice is temporarily silenced as it gnaws and swallows living flesh. That sounds fucking disgusting, but it's cool, right? The monster liquefies stone with which it comes into contact, hindering creatures that overcome in gibbering and attempted to flee. The Gibbering Mouther leaves nothing of its prey behind. However, even as the last of its victim's body is consumed, its eyes and mouth boil to the surface, ready to join the chorus of tormented gibbering that welcomes the monster's next meal. Wow, that is pretty cool. Now it has 3 different abilities. We're going to go over each ability. Now at the end, like always, and I started to do this, I'm going to go over the creature. I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm going to review it. I'm going to say it's good, bad, is it good for your campaign, and the DM, well, we're going to go over all that stuff. But right now, I described to you the creature, what it does, how it looks like. It's disgusting, horrific. To me, that's cool. But we're going to see what makes it good. All right, so it has the ground in a 10-foot radius around this Mouther is like difficult terrain. For one, each creature that starts its turn in that area must succeed a DC 10 strength saving throw. If you're a high level class, this is not a big deal. But, if you're a wizard, if you're a mage, it will be, depending on your save. That's highly important. Okay, so what does it do? It reduces, if you make the saving throw, not a big deal. It reduces your speed to 0. That is a big deal at the start of the next turn. Why? Because you need to move. Movement is very important because you need to disengage or whatever strategy you have as a player in the game. So that right there is pretty cool. Let's go over its abilities. Strength, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. All that stuff, the highest stat it has is Constitution. Obviously, because it consumes bodies and so forth, so it's going to be stronger there. Strength, Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma, not so much. But we're still going to go over the good. So this ability, Aberrant Ground, which I told you, it knocks out your movement if you're within a 10-foot radius. Gibbering. The Mouther babbles incoherently. Well, it can see any creature and isn't incapacitated. Each creature that starts its turn within 20 feet of the Mouther can hear the gibbering, must succeed on a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the creature can't take reactions until the start of the next turn, and roll a D8 to determine what it does during a turn. On 1 through 4, the creature does nothing. On a 5 and 6, the creature takes no action or bonus action and uses all its movement to move. In a randomly determined direction. On a 7 or 8, the creature makes a melee attack. Randomly determined creature within its reach or does nothing if it can make such an attack. Well, that's pretty cool. If you look at the gibbering, it's pretty cool. Granted, it is a CR2, 450 XPs. You would think that a CR2 can't do shit. Well, I'm sorry, this gibbering is pretty difficult. So you roll your D8 and it determines your fate. If you have anything, if you fail your wisdom save, then you roll this D8. And on a 1 through 4, a creature does nothing. Not a big deal. 5 through 6, the creature takes no action or a bonus action and uses all its movement to move in the randomly determined direction. That can mess up your strategy, which means you're in a dangerous situation, especially in combat. Multi-attack. Every creature has a multi-attack. So, multi-attack has a bite, and it can use Blinding Spittle. Very disgusting creature. It is this blob with a whole bunch of mouths and rack of teeth, small eyes, little arms coming out that have eyes on them. Very disgusting creature. For those of you who just joined us, we're talking about a Gibbering Mouther. We're going over what it does so far. It has this ground attack, which within a 10-foot radius, your opponent or the player must make a DC strength saving throw. If he fails it, his movement gets reduced to 0. And I'm saying that's a pretty cool thing, especially as a DM, and if you have a monster like that, it makes it kind of fun. So, gibbering. Gibbering is deadly. You make your wisdom save, not a big deal. You don't make it within a 20-foot radius. You don't make it. On a 1 through 4, the creature does nothing. On a 5 or 6, the creature takes no action or bonus action, and uses all its movement to move in a randomly determined direction. That's a pretty strong effect, especially if you have a whole bunch of players and you have a creature, and if you have multiple gibbering mouthers, you're in for one hell of a time. Okay, now, I said it has multi-attack, a +2 to hit, a reach of 5. Not a big deal. That's normal. It does 5d6 piercing damage for a low-level creature. Challenge rate of 2. That's pretty strong. Why? Because it has all these mouths, and it looks like an ooze, and it's very large. Actually, no, it's medium, but still, that is pretty cool and very deadly. We're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm describing all the good stuff about this creature, and so far, it's really cool. So, let's say it hits you. You got to make a strength save of 10. Again, the save DC are all 10s. Not a big deal, but got to remember, to some players, if you're playing a mage whatsoever, a DC like that might be a bad thing. Or you might be rolling like crap that night. That is DC. May not be a big deal, but gotta remember, if you don't make it, you're gonna be in for one hell of a night. Okay, so the bite, 5d6 piercing. The target is medium or smaller. It must succeed a DC of 10, strength saving throw, or be knocked prone. Again, if you're knocked prone, the target is killed by the damage it is absorbed into the mouther. So 5d6 damage piercing is very strong for a challenge rate of 2. Okay, and that's not even his major attack. His spittle, blinding spittle, recharge of 5 or 6. And what does that mean? You roll 6-sided, you get a 5 or 6. You get to spit this chemical that, jumps on you within 15 feet. And it explodes and in a blinding flash of light or impact. Each creature within 5 feet of the flash must succeed a DC 13 dexterity saving throw or be blinded. Now, that is pretty massive. Not only does it attack your movement, it does random directions if you roll that D8. It does massive attacks, 5d6 for a low CR rating creature. And if you're playing with level 1, level 2 characters, and even if there's a big party, if you have multiple creatures like this, they're in for one hell of a fight. And you could literally kill somebody easily with that type of damage. All right, so the good. You have his abilities. His abilities, and I'm not talking about his strength dex, I'm talking his abilities, what he can do. The Aberrant Ground. That's great. That's a great ability. Your opponent, your player, has to make a DC strength saving throw. And if he doesn't, his speed is reduced to 0. That's a great power or ability for this creature. The Gibbering. It babbles incoherently. And if you start in its turn within 20 feet of the mouther, you can hear the gibbering must succeed a DC 10 wisdom saving throw. If you fail, the creature can't take reaction until the start of the next turn and rolls a D8 to determine what it does during its turn. On a 1 through 4, and I'm going to say this again, the creature does nothing. On a 5 or 6, the creature takes no action or bonus action and uses all its movement to move in a randomly determined direction. On a 7 or 8, the creature makes a melee attack. Randomly determined creature within its reach or does nothing if it can make such an attack. Now, 2, fantastic. It's multi-attack. It does a bite, and it can use the blinding spittle. The bite does a 5d6 piercing, and the spittle blinds you. All that is good, the good. Now let's go to the bad. How do you take out this creature? So if you're a player and you see this creature, how do you take him out? First of all, stand back. Stand back. Don't go up to him. I know your reaction would be, let's go up to this creature, let's attack. And some players do that. Not saying that's wrong, but always be cautious, especially when you deal with this type of creature. Okay, so the bad. Look at its abilities: strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Its lowest stat is its intelligence and charisma. Dexterity. Those are its 3 things. Its movement is 10 feet. It does swim for 10 feet. That's his weakness. Now, the armor class. The bad, the ugly. Very, very bad. Armor class is 9. So if you can hit it hard within your first round, hit it hard, you can knock it down. It does have 67 hit points. Again, Constitution has a 16 plus 3. Very, very good. Very beefy for a challenge rate of 2. 450 XPs. Great experience when you're starting lower level. But the good, the barren ground, the gibbering, and the attacks are all great. The bad, armor class, and a lot of its abilities are low. And what is the ugly? What is the worst thing about this creature? The worst thing about the Gibbering Mouther. If you're dealing with him in your party, what do you do with this Gibbering Mouther? Do you stand back, like I just said, or do you go at it? Because if you go at it and you roll badly, you're going to KO the party. That's just the way it goes. But if the party is cautious and stands back and realizes this thing's a little more, then I would nail it from afar. If you got a good wizard, a sorcerer, range attacks, you could knock it out quickly. Because it moves slow. The movement is its worst thing, and its armor class is low. And if you have an armor class that's low, you have a party that could overwhelm it. If you have a party of 3 or 4, you could easily overwhelming it by just looking at the creature and saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go at it real quickly. I'm going to attack it from afar and see what it does. Now, if you want to look at the blinding spittle for 15 feet, it does have a range attack, but you don't know that. So as a player, you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what that creature is going to do. If he uses the blinding spittle, you're going to be blinded. And then once he uses that, you're done. Again, once in combat, you have to look at your scenario, what's good, what's bad, and so forth. Checking my levels here. All in Streaming World is going good. Good stream. Here we go. Let's continue on. It has dark vision and a passive perception of 10. No languages. It is completely, it's not intelligent. Because it's intelligent, its intelligence is 3, -4. Don't bother talking to it. If you're a player, just kill it. Difficult terrain. So if you are within the aberrant ground of this creature and you get caught in the ground, a 10-foot radius around the Mouther is a doe-like difficult terrain. And if you get caught, your speed is going to reduce to 0. And if you're caught, unfortunately, he's going to attack. I would. So if you're caught in this Gibbering Mouther's range and you fail your save, he's going to attack you with 5d6 piercing damage. That's a nasty number, especially for low-level characters. But worry not. If you are level 4 and so on, you could handle them, right? Maybe. If you have more than one Gibbering Mouthers. If you've got 4 or 5. If you got, let's say, a colony of one of these creatures. Then what are you going to do? Then what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and say, oh, don't worry, we got this creature? You can. I mean, you could. Anything is possible. But anything is possible with the creature as well. If it catches you off guard, it will kill you. A 5d6 is very, very powerful. Piercing damage. That's all it is. And if you're within its range and you fail that save, you can't move. It's going to nail you with 5d6. And on top of that, as soon as your party member is caught with the Gibbering Mouther, imagine he's caught. He failed his save. And then the other party says, okay, we got to save him. Guess what? He does the spittle. And then he does the spittle, it'll blind everybody. And once that happens, you're done. The party's done. Because they didn't think about the scenario and think about what is going on. So moving around, looking at everything around you, and noticing what goes on in a combat scenario, instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to attack the creature. Because obviously, that's the first reaction in any role-playing game. I'm going to go attack. I'm going to grab the bow, pull a cord back, or grab your sword, or use magic and attack immediately. Be cautious. Don't just jump in there. I want to grab some water. All right. I want to bring this a little towards me here. I can grab my water. Okay. There we go. All right. Change the scenery a little bit. All right. So you're attacking. Excuse me. So you're attacking, and all of a sudden, like I said, your party member gets caught. The Gibbering Mouther has you. Okay, you have 4 people in your party, and one guy is down. He can't move. Oh shit, I'm caught. The other 3 start to attack it. As they move forward, they're within range, within 15 feet. He does the spittle. They don't make the save. Guess what happens? You're blinded. Not a good thing. And not only that, you're blinded until the end of the Mouther's next turn. So that's a pretty bad situation. So what do you do? What do you do? A Gibbering Mouther looks pretty devious. He is disgusting. He smells. He's got all these mouths, sharp teeth, eyes all over. You know what he looks like? If you remember the film Spaceballs, remember Pizza the Hut? Yeah. Remember that guy? Remember that dude? He looks exactly like that. He looks like the Gibbering Mouther. He's got all these mouths and disgusting, forms. He looks exactly like that. And you know what? If you're encountering him, you'll probably laugh. But the thing is, he's not meant for laughter at all. Anyways, I'm going to rate him. What am I going to rate the Gibbering Mouther? He's a medium, aberration, neutral. He's neutral. He's not going to go out there and attack you outright. But what do I rate him? What's good about this creature in your party? Number 1, he has massive attacks for a low CR rating. That's awesome. Second thing that's good about him, his powers, or what I call abilities, not your stats, your strength, your dexterity, and constitution. Your abilities, your powers are really good. Gibbering Mouther is fantastic. He has these abilities that could stop you dead in your tracks, massive damage. His saving throws are low, 10 or 13, the highest saving throw. But you know what? If you fail it, it can really cause a lot of damage in your party. So remember that when you're using him as a DM. I think it would be fun to use a Gibbering Mouther. The name sucks, but you know, again, think of Pizza the Hut. Think of that from Spaceballs. Think of that type of creature. And if you have more than one, you're going to put your party in a pickle. I'd say between level 1 and 5, you can use this Gibbering Mouther. More than 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. Cause a little bit of difficulty in your party, depending on how you use it as a DM. But I would use them. I think it's cool. The bad thing about the Gibbering Mouther, it's slow, it's not intelligent, so it's not going to be, I'm going to go after you, because it doesn't do that. Whatever it's doing, if it's moving north slowly, that's what it's going to do. It's not going to want to turn and say, oh, I got attacked, I'm going to attack you. No, it's not very intelligent, it's dumb, and that's what it does. It's going to do what it does, and it's going to continue on, and that's it. That is a Gibbering Mouther. That's the bad thing about it. Its movement is low armor class of 9. Another good thing, I didn't mention it. I mentioned it before, but it has 67 hit points, and that's pretty cool. You know, for a low CR rating, that many hit points will really deliver a good blow to your party. Oh, I got him. Oh no, he's got 10 more hit points. Oh no, he's got 15 more hit points. Oh no, he's got 20 more hit points. 67 is very deadly. So, the Gibbering Mouther, A+. I give it an A+. It's a great creature. Not only is it disgusting, it's my kind of creature. It's very cool. It does a lot of things. It has a pretty good, if you read it, it has, in a monster manual, it's got a pretty good lore too. So I really, really would tell all you DMs out there to use a Gibbering Mouther. It is a very good creature to use in your campaigns, story, one-shots, whatever. I give it an A+. Use it to your best ability. And if you're a player, strategy, strategy, strategy. The 3 S's. Because if you do not look around you and see what's going on, you're going to get killed. That's just the way it is. It'll stop you dead in your tracks. It'll blind you. It'll nail you for 5d6 piercing damage. Granted, it's not intelligent, doesn't move very fast, low armor class, which means the advantageous part is you can nail it from afar. If you got range attacks, you've got your ranger, eldritch blast, stuff like that. You know, boom, hit it from afar, and that's your best option to deal with the Gibbering Mouther. Now, that's all I got for you tonight, guys. I started a little bit early today, but it's okay. It's happened. It happens every now and then. I'm just doing new things to the stream and trying new things with editing and so forth. But either way, I will see you guys next Friday for the 41st episode of Creatures of the Realm, and coming tonight at 11:45 p.m. Central, DM Talk. Next week, August 17th, Drow City, Part 6. And we have a good show for you. Stick around, subscribe, like, let everybody know about Playerole. We have a great, wonderful group. They're 100% awesome. And you know what? We got a great show. Anyways, I'll see you guys in 15 minutes for DM Talk, and I'll see you guys next week for Drow City Part 6. See ya.